Our third set of classical concerts features a theme of triumph over adversity, be it the hostility of the American frontier, the weight of civil war, or the stultifying pressure of political authoritarianism. Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring stands as one of the most cherished and enduring works in American classical music. Composed in 1944, this ballet, of which we perform the score, captures the optimistic spirit and pastoral beauty of rural America, blending folk influences with modernist clarity. Over time, it's come to symbolize not just a musical style, but an entire ethos, a sense of hope, promise, and new beginnings. Appalachian Spring began as a collaboration between Copland and the famed choreographer Martha Graham. Commissioned by the Elizabeth Sprague Coolidge Foundation for Graham's dance company, the piece was intended to accompany a ballet about pioneer life. Graham herself suggested the title only after Copland had finished composing, borrowing the phrase from a poem by Hart Crane. Interestingly, the name does not refer to the Appalachian season, but rather to a spring of water in the mountains, a subtle but fitting metaphor for renewal and sustenance. Premiering on October 30th, 1944 at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., the ballet featured a small chamber ensemble, not a full orchestra. Copland later orchestrated the score for a larger group, but these concerts will feature the original 13-piece instrumentation. Graham danced the lead role, telling the story of a young couple setting out to build a life together on the American frontier, surrounded by their community and the vast, hopeful landscape. Almost immediately, critics and audiences recognized the work's unique blend of simplicity and sophistication, praising its lyrical melodies, clear textures, and evocative use of folk material. At the heart of Appalachian Spring is Copland's distinctive musical language, sometimes called the American sound. This style is characterized by open intervals, syncopated rhythms, and transparent harmony, all of which evoke the wide open spaces and boundless potential of the United States. Yet Copland's genius lies in his restraint. Instead of bombastic patriotism, he offers a humble, reflective portrait of American life. His music is direct but never simplistic, using subtle variations and gentle dissonance to suggest both the trials and the triumphs of the pioneers. One of the ballet's most memorable features is its use of the shaker melody Simple Gifts. Copland incorporates this theme in a series of variations, allowing it to blossom gradually until it emerges in its full, unadorned beauty. The tune encapsulates the spirit of the work, straightforward, sincere, and deeply moving. In this way, Copland creates not just a backdrop for dance, but a meditation on community, faith, and gratitude, a tribute to the enduring ideals at the heart of the American experience. We continue with another masterpiece by Aaron Copland, written in 1942, only 2 years before Appalachian Spring. After America entered the Second World War, the conductor Andrei Kostelanets asked several famous composers to create a portrait gallery of great Americans. Copland settled on Abraham Lincoln, creating a kind of musical meditation on the great president's ideals and legacy. Written for orchestra and narrator, the work intertwines the timbres of a full symphony orchestra with excerpts from Lincoln's speeches to Congress and writings, notably the Gettysburg Address. Where Appalachian Spring is intimate and folksy, Lincoln Portrait is epic and national. It begins with a sweeping orchestral passage capturing the vastness and nobility of the American landscape. We heard these two contrasting sides of Copland's American sound at the end of last season in his Third Symphony. And while Lincoln Portrait begins with music depicting greatness, it quickly morphs into several quiet lyrical episodes evoking the simplicity and sincerity for which Abraham Lincoln was famous. Copland writes melodies that sound as if they're folk tunes, basing a couple on popular tunes from the Civil War era, including the Camptown Races and On Springfield Mountain. After the massive orchestral introduction, the narrator begins with Lincoln's powerful words, "Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history." What follows is an alternation between Lincoln's own words, powerful and inspiring, and original descriptions of what he was like as a man: quiet, diffident, melancholy. The orchestra punctuates the spoken text with dramatic accented chords and strident music underlying the enormity of the political situation Lincoln was seeking to resolve in the wake of the Civil War. We hear some of Lincoln's greatest oratory. The dogmas of the past are inadequate to the stormy present. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. And the work reaches his climax with the end of the Gettysburg Address, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Prescient words, then and now. Our concert concludes with Dmitri Shostakovich's monumental Fifth Symphony. The Fifth stands as one of the most significant and frequently performed works of 20th century orchestral music. Composed in 1937 and premiered the same year by the Leningrad Philharmonic Orchestra under Yevgeny Mravinsky, it emerged during a period of both personal and political turmoil for the composer. In the context of Stalinist repression and the aftermath of the infamous Pravda denunciation of his opera Lady Macbeth of Mvensk, the Fifth became a critical turning point in Shostakovich's career and a complex symbol within Soviet artistic culture. At its premiere, the symphony was met with overwhelming acclaim, with audiences reportedly weeping openly and offering ovations that lasted well over half an hour. Yet its popularity has persisted far beyond its political roots, captivating musicians and listeners alike with its expressive power, structural clarity, and emotional ambiguity. On the surface, the symphony embodies many of the qualities expected by Soviet authorities: heroism, optimism, a triumphant finale. But beneath its triumphant veneer, we find layers of irony, suffering, and ambiguity, making it fertile ground for interpretation and debate. Following the official condemnation of his earlier works, Shostakovich faced the necessity of producing a composition that would publicly rehabilitate him with the Soviet regime. The symphony's published subtitle, A Soviet Artist's Creative Response to Just Criticism, reflects an outward compliance with state doctrine. But Shostakovich's real intentions remain a subject of ongoing speculation. Many scholars argue that the Fifth Symphony represents a dual narrative. While fulfilling the demands of socialist realism in form and official meaning, it simultaneously channels a deeply personal and subversive emotional reality. The symphony opens with a powerful moderato in the traditionally expected sonata form. With fiercely double-dotted rhythms and sparse two-part writing, the music creates an atmosphere of brooding intensity and grandeur. The second movement is a scherzo, full of biting wit and grotesque dance rhythms, recalling Shostakovich's acerbic sense of humour, while the third, a deeply lyrical largo, is poignant and elegiac, often interpreted as an expression of mourning or reflective sorrow. The finale begins with militant optimism, but has been the subject of much debate. Some see it as an affirmation of victory. Others, notably the musicologist Solomon Volkov, have characterized it as a forced triumph or an ironic parody. To summarize several tomes worth of musicology that sit on the shelf opposite me as we speak, there has been considerable doubt about the legitimacy of the words Solomon Volkov ascribed to Shostakovich, especially in his best-selling book, Testimony. This skepticism has only added to the mystique and debate surrounding the true meaning of the Fifth Symphony. But whether true or not, what Volkov claims Shostakovich said about the finale of the Fifth is haunting and unforgettable. I think it is clear to everyone what happens in the Fifth. The rejoicing is forced, created under threat, as in Boris Godunov. It's as if someone were beating you with a stick and saying, your business is rejoicing, your business is rejoicing, your business is rejoicing. And you rise, shaky, and go marching off, muttering, our business is rejoicing, our business is rejoicing.